The views expressed on this Turnbuckle Tabloid live stream or Turnbuckle Tabloid podcast episode do not reflect the views, thoughts, or opinions of the Rageworks brand, including the Rageworks podcast network, Rageworks content partners, advertisers, and affiliates. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Drew McIntyre, the Scottish psychopath. And I'm telling every one of you to get up, show me fight, and listen to Turnbuckle Tabloid before I claymore you in the face. Download, stream, and subscribe, and follow us on all social media outlets. Turnbuckle Tabloid. Check it out.
Turnbuckle Tabloid.
3, 2, 1.
Indie wrestling is back, ladies and gentlemen. After this pandemic, we have to embrace the fact that the world is opening up in a great, great way. What better way would it be with indie wrestling? Guys, for you and me, we missed it. You as wrestling fans, me as a podcaster, we miss our wrestling. And what better way to do it than with our friends here at Turnbuckle Tabloid? VXS presents Mosh Pit Killers, live from New Jersey, Saturday, July 3rd on Fight TV. You don't want to miss it. It's a stacked card, ladies and gentlemen, and I wish I could be there, but be there if you go to everbright.com, go to Mosh Pit Killers, everbright.com to get your tickets now. Tickets are still available and you don't want to miss this. I'm telling you, the card is stacked. Season 2 of VXS. We have Brian Cage versus Shane Mercer in a hoss fight, ladies and gentlemen. We also have Nick Gage versus Nolan Edward. And this is for the first time. And from what I hear, it's not a death match, ladies and gentlemen. So this is one you have to see. My God, I wish I could be here for this one. Grim Reaper versus Gabriel Sky in a teachers versus student match. Danny Garcia versus Masha Slamovich. First ever intergender pure rules match. KTV versus Kevin Blackwood in a single showcase. Facade versus Dante Leon versus Ty Hill. It's a triple threat extravaganza. Davey Richards versus Jordan Oliver, which many may say is a dream fight. Also on the card, Ken Broadway, and much, much more. Guys, honestly, you don't want to miss this. Season 2 of VXS returns this July 3rd. Tickets are available at moshpitkillers.everbright.com. Man, if you want to see wrestling, VXS is the place to go to watch wrestling. VXS coming to you. VXS presents Mosh Pit Killers. Saturday, July 3rd. You don't want to miss this. Card is subject to change.
This is JD from New York, and you guys are listening to Turnbuckle Tabloid.
Give me a fucking mic! Turnbuckle Tabloid, cutting a promo. Cutting a promo this week, ladies and gentlemen. We discuss the very confusing WWE pay-per-view. We discuss Hell in a Cell from this past week.
The last Thunderdome pay-per-view of all time, ever.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Thunderdome pay-per-views.
You won't be missed.
You will not be missed. With your piped-in audio sounds and your weird glitchy screens.
Well, don't worry, we'll get into that because once the fans come back, we'll probably have a kind of a promo on the Thunderdome era as a whole.
Yeah.
And go over, all that crap, the fill-ins and the bullshit and the fake nonsensical audio.
Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait for, everybody's talking about, well, they're waiting for the crowds to come back. And when the crowds come back, it's like, yeah, they're still doing the same bullshit. Nothing's fucking changed.
Waiting for what? What are they talking about?
Well, for the big pops to happen, for the booking to get better and all that shit. It's like, no.
You can wait for that, but it's not going to happen.
It's like, no, it's not. But I said this pay-per-view was a bit confusing because I wanted to say that I didn't like it and didn't understand some of the finishes, but I kind of pieced together a couple of them in my mind and said, I don't know, maybe. Let's see how this rolls out. So, what do you have first?
Well, my opinion of it is, until the fans come back, these are not pay-per-views.
These are just extensions of Raw and SmackDown.
They're Raw and SmackDown with a different sticker on it.
By the way, wow, Peacock fucking dropped the ball this past weekend.
I'm sorry, this partnership with Peacock sucks ass. I miss my WWE network. I'm 5 seconds away from getting a VPN and just going to Germany and fucking going on the network. This shit is trash.
I didn't even watch it on Peacock. I watched it on one of my other apps, if you know what I mean.
Well, Peacock sucks. To be honest.
Yeah, that was real bad how they dropped the ball over there. The people were complaining they couldn't get on until maybe like
you didn't miss much, but
deep into the first half hour of the show and shit. And
you didn't miss much, but if you care about that kind of thing, staying on track, then
some people had to jump on other apparatuses. Some were saying that they were going on their Xboxes or whatever because it was working better there. And I
heard if you went on Pornhub and you press the right link for browsers you got on the network.
I believe it. I believe it. All you had to do was like search sweaty half-naked men, and that's what you would get.
Yeah, well, let's go through the card quick.
Sure.
This night was definitely forgettable. We had Natalya with Tamina versus Mandy Rose with Dana Brooke for the SmackDown Women's Tag Team Championships. Up next, we had Bianca Belair versus Bayley inside Hell in a Cell for the SmackDown Women's Championship. That opened the night. I expected it to open the night. It was the curtain jerker. In my opinion, this match did... There were a few fun spots here. Bianca Belair owning the night once again. Bianca's on a roll. Bayley, I love Bayley. Red, people are saying that Bayley, that this story sucks because Bayley, all she did was laugh her way into a championship match, and it's like, you got a point. She's not like winning matches on SmackDown. She's just laughing. Wouldn't you think Bayley should have got a few tune-up matches to care?
Well,
like, maybe get a few wins here.
I think the gist of it was Bianca Belair trying to sell it as in nobody's ever laughed in my face or never.
Yeah, but wouldn't you have Bayley win a few matches on SmackDown to gain that? Okay, she deserves to be in this match, not just laugh her way to a championship match. Like,
well, who else would you have to fight? I mean, honestly, like there's no one there. As a matter of fact,
she could have fought Liv Morgan. She could have fought fucking who else is on SmackDown? Fucking it's late, but there's definitely a face. There's a face woman on there that they could have
there's
thrown her in there.
Nobody. That's what I'm telling you. It's going to be weird because Money in the women's Money in the Bank, they're gonna have a SmackDown tournament for it, and there's hardly anyone there.
I already know who's winning that shit.
The women's one?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Guess who?
Alexa Bliss.
Nope. Sonya Deville puts herself in the match last minute and she wins that shit.
Oh, that would suck.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Yeah, that would fucking be terrible.
Sonya Deville, she puts herself in. She uses her power to say, "Oh, I guess there's no one that could join. I'll join." And then she fucking wins the Money in the Bank. She goes back into being a wrestler.
I just didn't get the fact
Bullshit.
that how they put they put this as a Hell in a Cell match. I didn't see.
This was not Hell in a Cell night for me. Hell in a Cell is being thrown off the cage. Hell in a Cell is using the cage to get destroyed, not kendo sticks and chairs. Hell in a Cell is supposed to be not this. It was literally an Extreme Rules match with a cage around them.
Is this the death
Yeah,
of the
that's
Hell?
just dead.
Is this the death of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view?
It should be the death of stipulation pay-per-views in general. I should be able to see these kind of stipulation matches on any given pay-per-view. It should not be. Which, by the way, I can't wait for Around the Square Circle this week out at how Petty USA they got their Hell in a Cell match because they fucking bitched and moaned. But I digress. Like I said, it's been dead. Hell in a Cell is not the way it used to be. Hell in a Cell used to be fucking important. Like top of the cell, be thrown off. Mick Foley and Undertaker. When I think of Hell in a Cell, I don't think of a big shiny cage that doesn't have any matter and it's locked. It's locked.
Yeah.
Okay, it's locked. Break the lock and go to the top. Like Hell in a Cell is not a steel cage match. Basically, it's basically what I'm being told here. In regards to the opening match, I really didn't care for it that much. Bianca definitely showed up. There was a few fun spots there with the kendo stick that I know was fun. Bailey's great as always, but it was whatever. It wasn't something to go home and cry about. Bianca retains, and I expected it. So
I thought it was a fun and entertaining match. I put it up there as maybe the fucking match of the night. Good curtain jerker.
No. Oh, I never said it wasn't match of the night. Because the other matches were so bad that yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But it's
KOD on the motherfucking on the ladder, to finish it off, and basically
Bianca's showing up, man. I'll give you that. Bianca is definitely showing up. She's having good performance after good performance.
I have to say that and of course I had to get my Bailey yelling at the announcer spot. I needed that. But all in all, it's like, didn't understand why it should have been in a Hell in a Cell match, but it was, and it worked. That was their women's cell match of the night. Which, do you think it should have been for Charlotte and Rhea? I think so. No, because then they wouldn't have gotten what they gotten. So,
yeah. Up next we had Cesaro and Rollins. Was this better than WrestleMania? I'm gonna say no.
No, it wasn't actually. No,
it really wasn't. It was an intense performance. They got a lot of time. Hot start. Got a quick brawl. We got a good brawl between the two. But I told you Cesaro was gonna lose here. Pretty lame how the finish was. Small package. Red. I have to address this. How many fucking roll-ups are we gonna have at pay-per-views?
50-50 booking. And
no, but how many times? Is this like the 50?
No,
like, come on,
but I'm
bro.
telling you, I'm gonna explain 50-50 booking. And what other way do you want the heel to go over to not make your fucking your
use a weapon and curb stomp, and when the ref's not looking, do something else.
Those are all tropes that everybody would have complained and bitched about. I'd rather have that
than a roll up for the 55th time.
Listen, those are
we see a roll up in the main event.
Everybody would have fucking bitched about. If he would have won clean, they would have bitched about it. If he'd have won using a weapon, they'd have been like, oh, that again? They'd have bitched about it. If he'd have won with his foot on the ropes, he'd have bitched about it. Everybody would have bitched about anything about Seth Rollins winning a 50-50 fucking kind of booking on this shit. And in any case, to me, the best way you could have went was a small package, and that was it. Because there's no other way that anybody else would have been satisfied or happy. There's no, I mean, unless you're gonna give Seth a new weapon to use, like his fucking coat or some shit like that. There's nothing else you could have used for him. That was the one thing I can say. Was it better than WrestleMania? No. Was it a good match? Very much so. But that was the only way to go out to make fucking Cesaro still look strong. Listen, his push is still going to be there. I
hope so. I fucking hope so. I hope he wins Money in the Bank. I fucking hope so.
And that's the way it's looking like.
Because if he doesn't win Money in the Bank, then Vince already gave up on him.
Right.
Straight up.
Listen, hey, Stone Cold begged Vince. He got on his knees and begged Vince and told him, "Listen,
I'm hoping that he falls through.
Don't fuck him up. If there's anything I've ever asked for in this company, please push Cesaro. It's worth the money."
Well, watch Vince not listen. I mean, I hope he does, but Vince. God, I have a fucking stuffy nose. Shit. Then we have Alexa Bliss versus Shayna Baszler. I did not watch this match. I heard it was an absolute joke, and I'm sorry. I don't want to shit on Alexa Bliss because she has to do what she's given. This is a spit in the face to the Fiend. This is a spit in the face to Bray Wyatt. You took a gimmick from Bray Wyatt's own creation. The man himself made this gimmick, transferred over to Alexa because you think it was better for Alexa, and it sucks. I'm sorry, it sucks. It's boring. Alexa's it's ran its course already. Alexa's playground sucks, and I heard this match stunk. I heard she hypnotized fucking Reginald. It's fucking trash.
Yeah, it's become this whole.
You took Bray Wyatt's creation and said "fuck you, Bray." Never mind. They gave it to this fucking broad. I'm over it.
And listen, that's
sad.
No, it is. It's an unfortunate fucking development when it's come to this whole this angle. It took a hard right turn, and we're not sure whether if it's going into the over the cliff, into a fucking ocean, into a wall. We don't know where this is
Ray, that's like you going to work, finding a new way to do your job that's like quick and more efficient. People realize that it's working. Then they fire you, and they teach that to the other people, and they train that, and they give that to that's the way they train the workers now.
Yeah.
How would that make you feel?
Different way.
I just want to knock them all out.
Just because they say it's like, we don't like the fact that you're the one that came up with this. No, we don't want that.
It's ridiculous. And if I was Bray, I'd be like so over it. But hopefully there's something coming for Bray soon. Hopefully he comes back and just ends Alexa Bliss's bullshit because this sucks. Alexa wins. I didn't care about this. Shayna Baszler's career. We should have a 10-bell salute for it.
Do we what you call it? Do we bury the upcoming who's the one with the red hair that's gonna be her fucking best friend or some shit like that, or who
at this point whoever it is dead in the water too. At this point, that's how bad Alexa's gimmick is right now. Whoever it is dead.
All right, next up.
Up next, we had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. What are your thoughts on this one?
I said another spot on solid match between two guys that know each other very, very well. The best part about this is
I thought it was fun.
The best part about this is that it's Owens. Owens is a worker because he sold the Nigerian Spike even in that match. It means he was pretty much effective through the whole time. So
that's how you sell
smart.
It, man.
Smart. It's smart booking. It's smart as a wrestler to do. Sammy's gonna be Sammy. He's a slimy, swarmy fucking heel, and like I said, it's one of those matches. Like I mean, I know people be like, oh, another Sammy and Kevin match, and it's like, yeah, that's
that's what they do.
You get mad. You get mad when somebody says there's pizza around. Well, I don't. I enjoy when there's a good pizza around. I could eat pizza.
No matter how many times I have it.
Yeah. So it was a fine match. The finish was Sammy going over, which once again another 50-50 booking what they're doing there. I think Owens is going out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, he said he's gonna take time.
Yeah, he's he needs some time off. He needs to heal up some injuries that he has going on.
He'll be back with his entire arm sleeved with different dinosaur tattoos.
Exactly right. That'll be a new thing.
He's going on a tattoo vacation.
But he'll go like where he always goes. Disney is open, so he's going to Disney. But but that's good. Like the saying, like I always say, I can't miss you if you don't go away. So
yeah, for sure. I said, this match was good. Sami Zayn winning, I expected. Kevin Owens does need a break. I think he needs to go to, I think Kevin needs to go to Raw at this point. We need to switch up. We need a draft.
Mm.
Um, um, I like that Sami won. Great performance between the two guys. I think this match should have been in Hell in a Cell.
Really?
Yeah, because they just make magic together. So why the fuck not?
It's always.
Yeah,
listen. It's gonna be one of those things where, like, the way you make it sound like they've been like Lethal Lockdown. You know how Lethal Lockdown has fucking.
I would have been okay with that.
Like the whole pay-per-view's done in a fucking
and
Lethal Lockdown.
I agree. I totally would have been okay with that. If the pay-per-view's called Hell in a Cell, I expect every match to be inside Hell in a Cell, right? Like,
right.
that's what I would hope for. Then you have Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte for the Raw Women's Championship. No, this wasn't it. Rhea has a bad taste in my mouth. I'm sorry. She's like I said in the last episode, Bully Ray said it perfect. She is not she's not wrestling how she does. She's not acting the way she does. Was this better than usual? Yes. Was I impressed with Charlotte here? Yes. Does Rhea Ripley's look and everything just bother me because it's just not her? Yes. Am I annoyed this is a heel versus heel story? Absolutely. I don't know who to cheer for. I don't care who to cheer for. This feud is so confusing to me that it gives me a headache at the idea of I don't know who to cheer for here. They're both fucking heels.
I thought that going in, it was possibly that Rhea was still the face and they were going to do maybe a double turn. But
you were wrong.
Yeah, I like you said, I'm still confused on what is what and who is who. But this
is AEW's droplets of shit all over it. Like I don't know who to vote for. Like I don't know what is going on with this fucking feud right now, and I think she needs to change some shit up.
But people are upset with the finish, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't.
I like the finish because it extends their story, and her reasoning is perfect. Like, oh, I'm just doing what you would have done.
Right.
I'm okay with that because now they're gonna have their match at Money in the Bank. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so I figured I go, okay, well, we'll see how this boils down to the conclusion, which by the way it'll be Charlotte winning the belt again.
Yep, you know it.
But I'm like I said, I was okay with it. I was fine with it.
Yeah, it was it too long?
Little bit. Probably ran a little, like maybe 5 minutes, a little bit too long, but
that's okay.
Got to do filler because they took away the Roman and Ray match, so they had to get some filler in there.
Yeah, Ray had a quinceañera to go to.
Exactly.
And finally we had Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Last chance Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Championship. If Drew McIntyre loses, he can no longer fight for the championship under Bobby Lashley's reign. This was easily match of the night for me. These two guys beat the shit out of each other. Drew McIntyre is so fat. You could tell that Drew McIntyre is so upset with how Raw has been. He pulled Bobby Lashley aside and said, "Dude, beat the shit out of me. I just beat the crap out of me, man."
Yeah, you gotta make it look good.
These two guys beat the living crap out of each other. In the beginning, it was a little meh, but once they got into the ring of things, they beat the crap out of each other. And if you don't believe me, check out Drew McIntyre's IG because his back is like. Drew McIntyre's back reminds me of Jesus on Easter. Yeah, his back looks fucked up.
Yeah, it was bad. He
like I can't imagine how he went to sleep like that.
He wrestled again on Raw. That's fucking insane.
Yeah, that shit. Like every single bump he played was crying in agony of pain. Like that shit is crazy. I've seen bad back wounds from fucking kendo sticks. I think that might have been the worst. Those are all deep cuts. That shit was intense. And I know that was his doing, so he definitely told Bobby to beat the shit out of him. Those two worked great. I wish this story was better presented on Raw, but MVP's interference made sense. I loved it. This is my match of the night.
Yeah, MVP is doing for Bobby what Heyman is doing for Roman on SmackDown, and I think that it's very unappreciated the consistency MVP is doing over there on Raw. It needs to be acknowledged more. I thought I was happy that Bobby got the win. It's gonna be interesting now on how what leads up from here on out. And all it is just a big feel up to how the next build up to the next championship chase is gonna be. By the way, shout out to MVP for taking that that Claymore.
Hey, Liz, he's a champ, man.
All right, so pretty much like I said, to me, I'm not gonna say it was terrible. It had its shit spots, but it was an okay pay-per-view. It was all right.
I think it was a good closing to the Thunderdome for Drew losing, as Drew McIntyre entered the Thunderdome with the championship. He walks out of the Thunderdome last pay-per-view without having to fight for a championship again until Bobby Lashley loses it. It's kind of bittersweet for Drew. That part of the story is good. So Drew and Bobby gets a check from me. Alexa and Shayna is a big thumbs down. Alexa is honestly disgracing me at this point that they ruined Bray Wyatt's gimmick like that. So that's an X. Kevin and Sammy get a check from me for just being a great match. A good match between both guys who know how to wrestle forever together. They're just meant to do it together. They're just meant to fight. That's it. So that's a check. No tag team championships on the line. Once again, your tag division is dog shit, and you don't even care to even defend them, the belts. So that upsets me a little bit. I think they should start defending the Cruiserweight Championship again on random pay-per-views, like every now and again.
Yeah, that's what I thought they should do. They might as well just throw it in there.
Like a Kushida versus like a Jake Atlas match, like a fun curtain jerker. Like curtain jerkers, like, you know why WCW worked so well? Because their curtain jerkers were cruiserweight classics. That's what gets the night hype. Not a fucking women's match, not a women's tag team match. No one cares.
Yeah.
No one cares about that. So of course the crowd's gonna be dead after watching that opener. What else happened? Bianca and Bayley get a check from me because I think they both used the weapons right. And Bianca killed it again. And Bayley was a good storyteller, and Bianca was great in the ring. It was a good combo. It worked. So that gets a check. And what else? Fucking Charlotte and Rhea get a thumbs down from me just because I don't know what to believe here. I don't know who to root for, and it's a fucking
Listen, I was fine with the DQ finish, and that's pretty much the only highlight of that for me.
The finish was the only thing that made sense. And then Cesaro and Rollins, if I had to choose one, I'm going to give it a thumbs up just because they both were, they're both Cesaro and Rollins, some of the best workers I've ever seen in my life. So they know how to tear it down. So overall, this pay-per-view is a thumbs up for me, but one thumbs up, and it's a tilt ring on a meh.
Oh,
so.
One thumbs up. It's not the two thumbs up.
No, it's one. It's one. It's one. And thank God Thunderdome is about to be over because we need the fans to boo the fuck out of this product.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm waiting to see what all the pent up aggression is going to come back and fucking.
What Vince is going to say? We're back, boo! Fuck you!
Yeah, when he comes out, that's who they should fucking. That should happen if he ever comes out. That they boo the fuck.
They should boo him like they boo Roger Goodell in the NFL draft.
Exactly, every fucking time.
Yep. So we'll see, man. Thunderdome's about to be behind us. We'll talk about that at a later date, but no more pay-per-views without fans. Thank the Lord Jesus Christ.
All right, guys, when we come back, we're going to have a conversation with hip-hop artist and friend of the show, family member, and wrestling fan. Mark Bay stops in. You've heard his music on the show. We've played him numerous times here. And he stops in to discuss his thoughts of the state of wrestling, his venture into podcasting, as well as his...
Me and him have a knitting competition.
A knitting comp. Yeah, who could make a nice sweater.
Yeah, so you want to find out who's better at that?
And of course, his feelings of hip hop and what's going on. So guys, stick around. We will return. Check you guys in a second. For the longest time, we were bitter, angry, and resentful for a lot of wrestling fans out there who started their own podcast. But Oski and I here at Turnbuckle Tabloid had said, you know what? We need to cut that off and put it to the side. How do we do that? By doing some partnerships and showing you guys how much we do appreciate your shows and what we actually listen to. So with that being said, we have turned over a new leaf, and Turnbuckle Tabloid presents I'll Put You Over. I'll Put You Over will be a review of you guys out there in the wrestling podcasting field doing your thing and showing love to wrestling in a whole. So, Turnbuckle Tabloid presents I'll Put You Over. It's a podcast dedicated to wrestling podcasters. No, it's not going to be the mainstream guys like the Cornettes, the Bischoffs, the Conrad Thompsons. It's not those guys. It's basically us who are fans who are doing for us and our listenership. So make sure you check us out at RageWorksNetwork.com as well as at RageWorks.net and all other podcasting outlets, and share your love and appreciation for not only Turnbuckle Tabloid but for all those other wrestling podcasts out there that's doing their thing and bringing you their opinions, thoughts, and the news of the current wrestling situation. So Jay Santee here to let you guys know, coming soon, Turnbuckle Tabloid presents I'll Put You Guys Over. Take a bump, guys, and stay on the lookout for that.
Looking at the other side of the mirror, I can see who gon' be with it right now. My vision is clearer. So who gon' be there when I ball? Who gon' be there when I fall? Who gon' be there when I fall? Who gon' be there when I fall? Ooh, looking at the other side of the mirror, I can see who gon' be with it right now. My vision is clearer. So who gon' be there when I ball? Oh, tell me, who gon' be there when I fall? Who gon' be there when I fall? Who gon' be there when I fall? Tell me, who gon' be there when I fall? Hey, who gon' be there when I fall? Who gon' be there when I fall? Tell me, tell me, You tell me my vision is bad, but I'm seeing definite facts. You ain't really who you claiming to be. Everybody take the blame for me. Always said that I needed a team, but that ain't good for my self-esteem. Your life and everyone else's dream. Get it together by any means. Either accept the way it has to be, or watch it slip out your hand like a pass low. When shit hit the fan and you start sinking in the need to keep you away from the bathtub. Bitter ginger type of nigga, now you wanna be drowning in your sorrow. Claiming your own lane, watching everybody passing you by like your car, bro. Keep in mind what's in your heart, bro. You got family dealing up the narcos. Make it happen quick and move them up.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Been waiting for a long time for this one because it's been a long time. I've been promoting my mans in them, my family, my nephew.
Mans is in them.
My mans is in them. Love for him. We were actually talking about how fucking long we known each other, man.
Yeah, since I was in elementary school.
Has it been?
Yeah.
No.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Makes me feel like fuck shit, man.
It has been. Because that's how long I've been in vegan.
Yeah, but I've been saying that every time that I tell people, it's like I was introduced to your brother Kenny. Shout out to Kenny. Kenny is he's a gem as well. Kenny is a gem.
Or 40.
He's always find a way to change his personality or his name in the hood or what it was, but I always laughed at him, but I always loved him at the same time. But you were the backbone of when myself and Uncle Fred came in, because you were the one that I can honestly say when we were introduced to you, we didn't know who the fuck you were, and when you came in, it was like, I fucks with it, man. I fucks with this little dude. So I came in the Beacon, and for people that don't know, the Beacon program is like a nonprofit organization that's in many inner cities, or whatever the case you want to say, but in New York and Brooklyn. I came
296 Beacon was lit. It was the littest. It was the littest Beacon of them all.
But I came in around, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 2003. So around that time, you were in Beacon at that time?
Mm-hmm. 2001.
Oh, you damn. So how old were you in 2001?
I was there. I'll tell you how long I was in Beacon. I was there when the blackout happened, and they had all the kids lined up around the building.
No, that was then.
I was on stage. I was on stage when the lights went out.
Yeah. So. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that wasn't 2000. No.
That was 2003.
Yeah. So you were about
8.
not yeah. So yeah.
Yep.
And you were from what we grew to is that you were the fucking mouth of all that shit.
Of what?
Of just being grown than the other kids that we knew. You were grown. Your whole fucking personality wasn't like other kids. You didn't do the same shit that other kids did.
Yeah.
You always jumped into fucking conversations of grown. I remember the other group leaders of Beacon. They all sat there. We love Marcus, but you can't talk around him because he knows a lot of shit. He's always he'll always be in the conversations and stuff.
Not in the conversations, but I knew a lot of shit.
You played the quiet mode. It was just like, yeah. I know. I don't know the Beacon beef, but I'm not gonna.
I ain't gonna talk about it. Like, I see what's going on. You never gonna hear about it.
You
from
always
me.
had the short Caesar. You always kept it low cut back in the time and stuff. It wasn't until I met Uncle Fred, and Uncle Fred has come on the show from time to time, and he really he promoted you to me, and let it be known that it's my son.
Yeah. Nah. Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all really took me in like family, and y'all really didn't have to. You don't see a lot of that going on now. Like, a lot of people are more for themselves, and I've been blessed to come up in a time where a lot of shit was community driven, and y'all cared for us. Not just me. You know, maybe I just gravitated to y'all because maybe I was more y'all speed, or y'all was more my speed. But like, the shit that y'all did was impactful to not just my life, a lot of people. There's a lot of people who we may look at and it seemed like they fell off the rails or whatever. Everybody just went their different path, but I know y'all had a positive impact on a lot of people's lives.
But it's funny because with you, it's like there's a lot of kids that we sat there and we either had them and in that realm of well, this is a basketball kid, or this is a kid who needed extra guidance. You were the kid that slid in with us. It was like, if he wasn't his age, he'd probably hang with us. He always slid that way, and it doesn't happen that way. And I have to give a big shout out to your moms, because your moms was such a woman who embraced us, and she was she was that kind of woman that sat there was like, if Kenny and Marcus go out there, you better check them. Mm-hmm. And we didn't really have to do that too much. Well, maybe Uncle Fred, because Fred always wanted to check you.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like Marcus was my dude, and we always had this respect and all this shit, and I was always monitoring how you progress and how you came up as a young man and such. We had your Wise Guys. We did that.
Wise Guys. I was talking to my mother about that the other day.
Is that something that you were... Explain what Wise Guys was.
Okay, so Wise Guys was a young men's mentor group, right? So it's hard to really explain what Wise Guy is.
We showed you how to wash your ass. We showed you how to
not only that. I would say they taught us like the basics of, or like brought our mind to being conscious about how to be a man, like the beginning steps of being a man, and just going on your journey. You feel me? So that was Wise Guy for me in a nutshell.
Yeah, and there were certain doors that we spoke about. Like,
you took us to our first wrestling show. You took me to my first wrestling show.
Well, because the money was there for the program.
Right. But nobody would have thought of doing that except for you. personally.
Yeah.
Like you was like, all right, there's a couple kids in here that fuck with wrestling. We gonna book a wrestling show and we gonna go to a wrestling show. We always went to Nets games and shit like that. But you made sure that we saw wrestling and
Well,
that
that was
shit.
personal because that's the
Bro,
shit. I need some entertainment.
I saw Undertaker in his third prime.
Oh my God, you
he
do that?
returned on his third prime. Like you heard?
I speak about it on the show all the time about that shit. Or when Shelton Benjamin came back.
Yes.
And
we saw 2 nights of wrestling in one night. Yo. I didn't have to watch wrestling for 2 weeks, my nigga. I didn't have to fight my brother for the TV for 2 weeks.
And it was funny because I sat there and I tell people, I was like, you don't understand what it is to be like in those shows to do that. Especially at the time we were in. And it was you, me, and probably a couple of other people that we knew wrestling, and everybody else was just there to be there.
Yeah.
But we were like, yo, you don't
This
know
is our shit. I'm trying to get there. Y'all moving too slow. I don't give a yo. We was on the same speed. Yo, Red, you trying to get to the seats? Fuck these niggas. Like, yo, Gmail got them. He don't care about this anyway. So
Yo, we were there the night when Triple H and motherfucking Morrison had that match, and they missed the spot on the
like
table.
3 times. 3 times.
We were there that night, and when they showed it on SmackDown and it was clean, it was like, nah, that's not how.
Nah, that's not how it went. That's not how it went.
We were there for the night for Kizarny as well. When Kizarny, the supposedly circus guy came out, and it was like, nah, fam, we're not finna
Not
miss
it. Not it.
Yo, it's for real. Like we actually brought wrestling to these people, and we didn't care if they give a fuck or not.
You used to give me the formulas for the created wrestlers. You used to give me a folder for how to create each wrestler in TNA on SmackDown versus Raw. Like that's how far we go back.
Oh my gosh, shit! Damn.
I don't forget shit. I don't forget anything.
Wow, that's scary. That's scary. How long have you been a wrestling fan though?
Since I can remember. Like, I remember watching WrestleMania 2000 on VHS.
All right.
My uncle recorded it. I remember the segment when Stone Cold got hit by the car and they was trying to figure out who hit Stone Cold, and it turned out to be Rikishi. I remember Undertaker getting in the ring and just saying one word, and this is when he used to say "suck." Like that's all he used to say.
Yeah.
He used to get on the mic and say "suck," and just get off the mic.
Yeah.
So I would say 99.
Yeah.
Since I was like 4 years old, 99.
So, has it been like a progression that you stood with wrestling and?
Well, my cousin was into wrestling heavy too, so he had all the games before I was able to get the games. My grandmother, she was a wrestling fan, like fanatic. She's been into wrestling. My uncle, he was into wrestling. So it's like they always kept it going around me. And I understand certain people fall off from wrestling, but it just never happened with me. So,
but growing up in neighborhood, you grew up in the hood.
Yeah.
Bushwick, Brooklyn, New York City. You know, it's kind of tough to be a wrestling fan out there because everybody has their fucking issues with the shit.
You don't talk about it though.
Yeah.
You just connect with who you know, talk about it. You don't talk about it with everybody.
But when you actually finally people that you see that is into wrestling, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, like you can't shut up. Like, what you think about this person? Yo, I think they should do this. I think they should do that. Yo, I like this person because he do this. This is like how long you been watching wrestling? Wrestling fans have a specific bond that's just like you won't be able to understand it.
Did you find it in college when you went to college? Did you find that something? Because you went to University of Albany, right?
Mm-hmm. I went to Schenectady and I went to UAlbany.
So did you find wrestling fans up there?
Not really.
Wow.
Probably a couple. There's a couple people that I put on, like, yo, you still watch wrestling? Like, Monday and Friday.
It's
Monday
weird,
and Friday,
right?
the TV was mine. And niggas would say what the fuck they say about it the first 2 weeks, but on the third week it's like, yo, this really this nigga shit. They come in, sit down, yo, that nigga Roman Reigns wild, and I was watching him with my nephew, and yeah, whatever.
But did they come to the dorm or did they come to the place and watch wrestling with you and shit like that?
I mean, they come to fuck with me, but if wrestling is on, they gonna watch it because we not changing the channel.
It was like me when early on when like years ago when I was watching wrestling and a lot of niggas in my hood didn't really get into it.
Yeah.
They would come to the crib and want to blow L's and shit, whatever. And they were like, what the fuck is this? And wrestling is like, what the fuck you watching this? Yeah. And then you start seeing them come every Monday night because they wanted to see Raw and they wanted to see Nitro. And then all of a sudden it's like, are you really here to blow trees or are you just here to watch wrestling?
Right.
It's like all of a sudden it's like, yo, Goldberg is my dude. I'll fuck you, Stone Cold. It's like, oh, I got y'all now. It's like, I feel y'all.
But you see the drop off with wrestling fans, and that's the saddest thing to see. Like, damn, you don't fuck with it as much as I do.
but you wear the paraphernalia. Like you just walked in today, and you walked in, you had the WCW shorts. It's like you walk around.
Yeah, shout out to my girl.
But still, like, you ever get that nod when you walking around in the hood and it's like somebody's wearing a Stone Cold shirt or NWO shirt and you wearing another one and you give yourself like,
No, because sometimes people are wearing wrestling shirts because it's nostalgic and it's like, this is a cool shirt. Like, oh, who's that? That's Stone Cold. But people don't really be knowing the stories behind it. There are some people, like, people be fronting. They be fronting like they're wrestling fans. So
does it go to with when you see somebody wearing a rock t-shirt or a rock band's t-shirt or a rapper's t-shirt? I'm like, name 3 songs. It's like, do you do that?
Yeah, yes. Pretty much. I was in Malibu and this Asian dude, he had a Buju Banton shirt on.
And it's like, name 3 songs.
I'm like, yo, he probably know 5 songs. If I go up to him, he probably name me 5 songs and start spitting some shit. I would love for that to be the scenario. I would love for it to be, you're wearing this shirt because you actually rock with it rather than, it just looking cool. But I don't know. I don't know. But it be like that though.
Because I do kind of do. I have this thing where when I go to work or even anywhere I go to, I my whole clothing has just become wrestling shirts or whatever. And I'll walk down the block and there's certain individuals that see what I'm wearing, they look at me and they give that nod like,
There's a wrestling pride era that's going on right now.
Is it? That's what it, you think so?
Yep. Wrestling pride.
That's what it is. It's like low key. It's like, yeah.
People starting to, talk about, because even me, I'm starting to show more on my story. I share something wrestling on my story now. Like, nah, this was a perfect era.
Do you do it in your raps though?
Yes.
You
I have a line that I said on one of my earlier stuff. You're the challenge man for me. I mess up legacy. Damn, I'm forgetting a line. I ain't no Dusty son. It was like it was a line that played off of Legacy.
Uh-huh.
So it was like I ain't no Dusty son. They trying to viper the Legacy, like something along the lines of that. So,
okay.
Like it was something along the lines of that. Who knew the challenge was meant for me? I never mess up the Legacy. I can't remember the line, but I've done it.
Yeah,
yes.
okay. Because you have to. If you're a wrestling fan, you gotta throw some innuendos or whatever the case may be, where people will be like, what that means, and check it. You gotta check it.
Yeah.
I would have thought, of course, you would have had thrown a Ric Flair line or somewhere in there. Everybody loves to throw.
I've thrown a Ric Flair line in there. I've definitely thrown. It's crazy because the amount of stuff that I create now, I can't even remember my rhymes, and I never thought that I would get to a space where I can't remember certain songs like off the top of my head. But yes, I do use wrestling references. You want another one?
Yeah.
Yeah, you fucking with the sound monkey.
All right, I can't reach the fucking refrigerator.
I'm just trying to take credit for putting somebody
Shout out to Sound Monkey.
But yes, I do use wrestling references. But I do it on the low. If you understand it, you understand it. So,
but that's what a lot of rappers do these days. A lot of hip hop. If because it's a low key gimmick or fucking genre that a lot of people don't want to admit to that they're wrestling fans, and whether it's because of what you like now or what you was back in the days, that's what a lot of where we come from. Listen, nobody can sit there and not think that you get into the rap game and you get put on, or the case may be, and then boom, you're on and not want to fucking do what Ric Flair is. Woo, come on now, let's be for real.
Infrared leaving more dust in a dream. Dusty that is, holding their tongue like they speak with a lisp, but watch how I spit. That's a reference.
There you go. You see, you found it.
That was one of them. But you know how many people, I was frustrated because I wrote it and I was like, I just got to put it in a song. But I know 90% of the people who listen to this is not going to hear it, but this is who I am.
But I want to have a conversation about that because I want to equate your work in rap to how indie wrestlers are, because there's so many people who want to be rappers and there's so many people who want to be hip hop artists. You know what I'm saying? So I can equate that every track that you lay out is almost like an indie match for indie wrestlers. But how can you tell anybody that's in what the world that you're living in and the world that you're building on it's just a struggle that they shouldn't fucking give up on? Like, well, I mean, because it's tough that everybody thinks that they could be the next J. Cole and shit like that.
Yeah.
So, how is it that the game is different, like right now, for the progression?
I feel like, yes, it's very popular to rap, but if you really want to do it and reap any type of benefits from doing it, you should go in with go in for the love of doing it, or find something that you love doing. It doesn't necessarily have to be rapping. It could be clothing. It could be film. It could be interviewing. It could be media. Whatever it is, find something that you love doing and commit to it. If you don't love doing it and you're just doing it to chase a bag, unless you have a direct route to get into it, like, I don't know, maybe consider something else. But I feel like you have to love doing what you do first. You have the podcast and you said you haven't missed a week yet.
Yeah.
And it's because you love what you're doing. You're not doing it for a bag. You're not doing it for money. You love doing it. You love getting your opinions off, talking about what you love, which is a culture that everybody cannot understand. But you connect with a fan base. Find the people that you connect with and, just be yourself on top of that. Be yourself.
I always sit there and I was like, everybody sits there and they go, I gotta get paid for this.
No, you don't.
Somebody's got to give me money for this.
You would love to. Don't get me wrong. You would love to get paid.
Of course it is. That's the optimist goal of it. But in reality, it's like everybody's a rapper, everybody's a podcaster, everybody's especially in the genre of what it is, sports, cultural, wrestling. Everybody's doing something of the same genre because the whole world is open to it.
Right.
But what is it that makes you different than anybody else is what people will gravitate to, for me.
Yeah.
Because if you're the copy to the next person that's on a mic, then why would somebody like you? So as a rapper or whatever case, what makes you different than anybody else?
I'm not really good at gloating about myself. So like there's so many ways that I can answer that question. But Like, I feel like we're all here having human experiences. If you relate to me, you relate to me. I'm past the point of trying to convince you that I'm good enough. I do this because I love it. You feel me? Like, that's it. Is everybody else doing it because they love it? Maybe not. Maybe you gravitate to somebody because you connect to them. If you could find a connection to my shit, like, I fuck with you. If you don't, like, continue to scroll past, just like 60% of the people who come across my shit do. You know, so I don't, as far as what makes me different, like, I don't know. I'm influenced by a lot. I love the music industry, period. I love R&B. I love hip hop. But there's so many people that's influenced by a lot of shit. There's a lot of things that's being pushed in our faces. There's a lot of songs that sound the same. There's a lot of songs that's not different from anything else that we're hearing on the radio. So I can't really tell you what makes me different. I know who I am, and I know where I'm trying to be.
But, you know, it's funny because just as you mentioned what you were saying, I was going to ask you about when I hear your flow and your music and everything, it's not what it's now because you are appreciating the old stuff. Mm-hmm. You're like and now this new shit is like I can't I really can't listen. Do you appreciate the new shit that's out now? Is there rappers that you appreciate? Or even that you listen to and you're like, I fucks with him, or whatever the case may be.
Some of it, but majority of it is the same old thing. It's like, and what it's been for the longest now, like the Drakes, the Kendricks, the Coles. Like, I put those people up there. I like some rappers, Polo G, and like, you know, some of the rappers from Brooklyn, Chef G and Sleepy Hollow. But I like them for different reasons. You know, rap is like wrestling now. There's so many different characters that's popping up. If I gravitate to your story, if I gravitate to what you're spitting, I fucks with it. Can I appreciate it? No, because it's an easy lane to get into now. You know, the studio used to be a sacred place. Like I said before, if you saw somebody take a picture in the studio, you thought they made it or you thought they was close to making it. Now you see somebody post a picture in the studio, it's just because they paid $25 an hour to get there. So I don't know.
But it's a good note that you mentioned because you said that a lot of rappers, it's like wrestling, where in wrestling, a lot of these wrestlers get over because they're spot monkeys. They have their moments in a match and they get over with it. And like in rap with these guys these days, it's just, to me, I think it's just lazy, where not to blow smoke up your ass, but you go in depth and to think about what to write about, like metaphors and all this shit like that, where a lot of motherfuckers really don't seem like they're doing that. No. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I get tight in both aspects of the world, where in wrestling that a lot of motherfuckers really don't fucking give a fuck about what they're doing in the ring. It's just their spots, where I think in rap, it's the same thing, where a lot of motherfuckers really don't think about what they're doing with their words. They just get over what the fuck they get in.
Because it's cool to be a rapper. You know, you look at the lifestyle, it's cool to be a rapper. And the fact that looking like a rapper seems so easy, anybody can do it. You know, just like anybody was jumping on OnlyFans. If you was a girl who had a bad reputation from the jump for the last 4 years, fuck it, jump on OnlyFans. Like, you feel me? So I don't know. All this stuff is so accessible, you know, with everything in life, not just music, even with clothes, you know, because look, with screen printing, it wasn't so easy 7 years ago. Now everybody have their clothing company that they go to, put a print on there and say that they have a clothing line. Right. And it's not a clothing line. You have an apparel line. You know, you bought something and you didn't, you know, all this stuff is so easy to get access to. We could call ourselves whatever the fuck we want to. That's how I look at it.
But do you also look at it as,
I appreciate it though. I appreciate it.
But that is, you appreciate it, but it's also like, Yeah, but how the fuck is everybody else getting on, but we're not?
I do have those thoughts. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I do have those thoughts.
Because I said the same thing with the podcast.
Yeah.
I sit there and I go, okay, I'm busting my ass and I'm doing everything in my fucking in my wallet pulled out, and I'm dropping everything off, and I'm doing fucking skits, I'm doing fucking interviews, doing all this shit, and still I don't get the recognition. And I go, okay, love to do it because I love the creativity, but it's like in the back of my mind I'm going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Do you ever look at it the same way when it comes to your work?
Of course, because I see certain people who, you know, and this is just the way I feel.
But
I see certain people who's lit. They have a reputation for being a cool person. You know, they like their energy. They come with, you know, a lot of glitz and glamour, and they're not necessarily good at rapping, but people support their shit because they fuck with them or they know them because of the amount of people that they know. If you don't really know nobody, you really got to be good, and you got to present yourself in a way where, you know, people just gravitate to you, or you just got to shift your thinking, because what does success mean to you? You know, what does success mean to you? Is your standard for success the same as somebody else's? You know, do you have a certain amount of goals, a certain amount of listeners you want to reach every time you release something? All right. How many times you want to move up from that? 5 more listeners, 10 listeners the next episode? Like, you know, what's your idea of success?
What's your thoughts about how you could you can use the wrestling background that we know of, that you can use it in enhancing your possible come up in your rhymes and music and all that shit? I always go to Ric Flair. Ricky were like, woo, just share, show, and show the progression. Woo!
Yeah.
But
you know, my favorite wrestler is Undertaker. And then, like, I've been forced to make a top 5. So I came up with Undertaker, Triple H, Eddie Guerrero. I can't name the last 2.
No, but Eddie's a good one. And a lot of people don't do Eddie.
Right.
But explain Eddie. Why Eddie?
Eddie Guerrero was like, his story eventually came out. We didn't always know what it was with Eddie Guerrero, but he had a certain flair to him. Latino, he always been his thing. He always had the flame. The flame.
And I think that's a lot of
Trunks.
You know, when it came to wrestlers that rappers want to gravitate to, I think if you would use like an Eddie Guerrero kind of gimmick, people wouldn't understand it. But it's like not understanding why people use Ric Flair. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Eddie. It
sounds nice. Ric Flair drip on it. It's simple words. It's 1 syllable words.
Yeah,
that's what people gravitate. Ric Flair drip. They didn't know what the hell they was talking about till they saw the video, and Ric Flair was in the video.
Right.
Oh, that's the dude that used to be with Evolution. They know him from Evolution. Like you'd be surprised what people know certain people for.
But I think you'd be surprised that if you used it now that Eddie Guerrero is
Yeah.
It'd be something that it's.
I would say Eddie Guerrero's story. I would say Eddie Guerrero. I love the lie, cheat, steal gimmick, and
exactly.
Eddie Guerrero was loved.
Nobody's using it.
He was a great heel. He was a great his facial
and he's a good
expressions.
Because even when he cheated, it was like he was a face.
Eddie was. I wish his career could have been way longer, but Eddie Guerrero is that guy.
Yeah,
I would use his story. To parallel with what takes place in rap. You know, just stay the course.
Well, you should use it. Try it. If you could figure it out.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. Creativity comes from where
our experiences.
Experiences, and you don't know what to get over.
Yeah.
But a lot of times that's what happens. Right now, when you're thinking about with wrestling, what's on the upside for you with wrestling?
They're finally gravitating to pop culture, but it's also scary because it's like, how much will they sell out? Because right now they got the Cardi B
Is
song.
there a difference between the sellout or gravitating to what it is?
Nah, it's a sellout because you would have been, like you said earlier, you would have been ahead of the curve.
Right.
You would have been did this type of stuff that, seems like the thing to do.
Right.
Excuse me, you're WWE. There's nothing like wrestling. You can't compare any sport or anything to wrestling. You're WWE. So, like, I don't know. What was the question again?
No, where would you how wrestling is gravitating? What is bringing wrestling back with the pop culture and stuff? Let's say we do it that way. Let's rephrase it that way.
I would say the fact that it's dabbling into pop culture, because look, the Bad Bunny match turned out amazing, and we'll see what the SummerSlam thing turns into. Cardi B was beefing with some of the girls on the WWE roster, and I don't know. There's not anything uplifting about wrestling besides the fact that I'm always going to be a wrestling fan right now.
But why be a wrestling fan?
It's just something that I'm familiar with. I love it though. I love it.
I sit there, like, for me, I have a wrestling podcast, so I have to do what I do because it's because of the show. But I always know that deep down, I have love for wrestling.
Yeah.
I have to find it. Even if I'm going to hate it or love it, I'm going to sit there and watch wrestling.
This is what being a wrestling fan is. Hoping that the product will get better one day.
I said that many times.
That's what being a wrestling fan is.
I said that many times.
What it used to be. It was great. It provided a certain feeling, a certain emotion. Watching these pay-per-views, buying a pay-per-view, watching wrestling on Friday, like watching wrestling on Thanksgiving. Remember watching wrestling on Thanksgiving? Shit was lit. So it's a certain emotion wrestling grabs from you, and I feel like being a wrestling fan, you hope that it gets back to that. You have hope for wrestling, or whatever promotion it is that you watch.
But you also gotta think about, like, what gravitates wrestlers to the fan base, because what do they need to do, in your opinion, to bring wrestling fan base back to them? Because wrestlers also have that. Who is your favorite wrestler?
Undertaker.
How did he do it?
He stuck to the code of wrestling. Like, he was just, you look at Undertaker and he screams the business. The way he presented himself, you never saw him outside of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really speak much, and when he did, he seemed like a badass. He was always whipping somebody's ass. And
is that still there now with the wrestlers we have these days?
No, because everybody was different back then. Now, it's like, how can you really set yourself apart? Everybody is speaking as if they have to be tough. They're putting on this persona where they're raising their voice, and it's not even authentic. It's not their real speaking voice. The Rock, that was a certain extension of him. I watch Young Rock, and you can see in the stories that he paint of his family how he became this personality on TV, whether it's scripted or not. You can see it. Now in wrestling now, you can't connect to these characters. It look fake. It's not believable. It's like, why would I even do that? Anybody that I watch wrestling with who's not a wrestling fan, why would I even do that? Back then, Undertaker was riding a bike to the ring. In hip hop, we had DMX, who was, on the BMX bikes. We was in the hood. We seen people on motorcycles. That was different for a wrestler to be doing that. Walking around with a biker chain, and I don't know. When he switched up the gimmick and turned into a real person, not this mystical, fake dead person, that's when I fucked with it.
What do you miss about hip hop?
Albums. I miss listening to albums. I miss listening to full length albums and experiencing that feeling for the first time. Not feeling rushed to listen to an album. The anticipation for an album. I miss that. I don't like this. All right, I gotta drop every week. If I drop this week, I gotta drop a deluxe. There was times that an album dropped and I didn't know because I did not have the album. I didn't know what the 5th single was because I didn't have the album. But if you bought the album, you already knew the song that started playing on the radio 5 months after the album dropped. I miss that aspect of the music industry, of hip hop. Full length albums.
What do you miss about wrestling?
The good stories, the emotions. Like, I watch wrestling as like, I tune in because it's a routine. I'm not tuning in because it's like, this week is going to blow my mind. Last week, it was wavy. I can't wait to see what's happening this week on wrestling. It's like, no, this is my routine. This is what I've grown to love. Hoping that one day the program get better. So I miss the feeling, the emotion, and once again, the anticipation for the next week. Not trying to create an anticipation. Like wrestling, they food speed, they spoon feed you. They give you a little dose of something if they introduce a new character. Like Eva Marie. We didn't care about Eva Marie when she was here. Now you bring her here and you don't put her on TV to wrestle? For what? Is she going to be a great wrestler when she comes back, or is she going to be average? Because if she's average, you might as well just dump this storyline. If she's great when she gets back in the ring, kudos to you. But if you're just building this anticipation, trying to lock me in for next week, you're being selfish. Get the fuck out of here. You're not working. You're not working.
What's missing in the hip hop world?
Authenticity. Everybody's portraying a life that's not really theirs. Everybody's portraying a life that they think you would expect from them, giving people what they think people want to see rather than being themselves, telling the true story.
But I always have this whole thought about that, because I look at it as is there a difference between hip hop and R&B? Because R&B always has this whole selling of, I love a guy, I lost a guy, I love a girl, and I fucked this girl. Is it really real with that, or is hip hop really different from that? Is rap different from that?
From R&B?
Yeah.
Today?
Anytime.
Yes. I would say rap is different. Like 50 Cent is different from
Do we have to be guaranteed
Usher.
with rap? Do we have to be guaranteed
What do you mean?
that what we speak in rap has to be real?
It's not that it has to be real. I have to be able to connect to you. Don't manipulate me into thinking that you're as good as you're saying you are. As good as your Instagram is saying that you are. There's too much personalities, too much created characters in rap right now. And I don't know, that just dilutes the product because it's a manufactured way of producing songs and they all sound the same. You know, Hove didn't sound like 50. Ja Rule didn't sound like any of them. DMX didn't sound like any of them. There's variety. There's not variety now. You couldn't sit here and be like, oh, this sound is this sound. You couldn't do that. Even Ludacris is a great rapper. Andre 3000, great rapper. T.I., great rappers. These are all people who set themselves apart. Now, you can't really separate people in rap. There's people who set themselves apart, but they don't even get the appreciation that's deserved. When they put a lot of work into their music, when they sample certain songs, it's not appreciated. When they did certain things, it's not appreciated. The way the artist intended on you to receive the music, it used to, you know, they used to do this big campaign so that you get the point. You understood what Confessions was. You understood what Destiny's Fulfilled was. You understood what Get Rich or Die Trying was. You don't understand what the hell these albums are. It seemed like a playlist. There's no story being told when you listen to an album now.
So what you're saying is right now, isn't rap wrestling?
It's always been wrestling, though. It's always been wrestling. You always had different characters. You always had different people representing where they were from. You know, it's oversaturated now, but maybe back then it was oversaturated.
No,
But
I think even more saturated.
back then,
No, now. Yeah.
yes, it is more saturated. You know, because once again, everybody can do it, and it's like, who do I take serious? I'm not taking you serious. You put your guard
But
up on
why?
certain people.
Why take someone serious? Because at the end of the day, it's like, why does it even matter?
Whether or not you take somebody serious as an artist.
As a rapper, like, why?
I mean,
does
if you love rap, then it matters. If you don't, then it's just like, fuck it. I'm consuming whatever America's
do
producing.
you really care about if somebody busts a gun or if they don't? Like,
It's not that I care about whether somebody busts a gun. I care about whether or not the story connects. I care about whether the music is good. I care about whether the raps are good. I care about whether it's a thoughtful project. It's not about whether or not they busting a gun, whether they real. Are you able to connect with me and tell me a real story? That's like, oh, you know, I connected to that. One of my favorite albums in the last few years is SZA, Control, because it made me understand to a certain extent the vulnerability of a woman. That album in itself did that for me. That's what the album did for me. Her whole press run did that for me. So I fuck with the album. It moved me in a certain way.
So is it for a wrestling fan and a hip hop fan? Is there a way that we can look at both and separate the two, or put it in the world? Because I look at it as hip hop and rap the same way as that people look at as wrestling, whether it's fake or it's real.
It's entertainment.
Yeah,
it's entertainment. You know, once you decide, art is art when you're creating it. When you create art for the purpose of it being consumed by as many people as possible, that's entertainment. You're entertaining somebody. So, you know, you take your bumps and bruises when it comes to entertainment. Even doing a podcast is entertainment. You're entertaining people. You're keeping people's attention.
How was it for this podcast? Because I want to give a big shout out to my boy, my nephew, Mark Bass, stepping in.
Yes, sir.
Doing a big thing here. And this is great. This is a great conversation, man. Let everybody know where to get to you and where you got upcoming, and let them know what's the big things for you happening.
You can follow me on IG. That's Mark_Baze, MARC_BAZE. Marathon Man, the single just dropped. Dropping a video sometime soon. Very, very, very soon. Yeah, everything. Mark Baze, MARC-BAZE. Continue to run Marathon Man up. Yeah, I'm excited about the future. Like, I just landed in a mental space where I'm figuring this thing out. That's where I feel like I'm at right now. So
you're good. You're a good young man, and I'm happy that I'm a part of your progression, man. And I'm happy that I was there for you early on, man.
Yeah.
And you're doing the big things, boy.
Yeah.
And proud of you.
I appreciate you.
Love you.
I appreciate you. Love you too, man.
And guys, stick around. Don't go anywhere. We will be back. And booyah, later.
Turnbuckle Tabloid.
3, 2, 1.
Turnbuckle Tabloid.